are back. Welcome, everybody, to the Everyman's podcast. This is your host, Turnpike Tyrone, with my two boys, Chops and Triggs, in the back, doing what they do best, and that's cat things. So today we are going to be discussing Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So I don't know really, like, I didn't have the highest expectations for this movie. I did expect it to be, a good time, fun time. Um but something in me told me that this wasn't gonna be what I wanted it to be. I felt like it was going to be, on par with the Doctor Strange and everything like that. So we're just gonna go get into it. So get to the theater, sit down, chill out. Movie starts. Scott is doing his thing. Post in game, he is an Avenger. He saved the world. Great time. He's written a book, which is pretty solid on his point. And, just signing books. People recognize him, not fully, but they do. And he's reading to some kids, so I was like, all right, cool. All right. So my hopes, I'm there. My hopes are fine. Then the bullshit begins. He gets a phone call. His daughter's in jail. So now Scott is an ex-con. He was a thief. He was a great thief, and has been in prison. Everyone knows Ant-Man story, Scott's story. So he gets a call, and his daughter's in jail. I was like, okay, so she's, following family business. Maybe she's going a little crooked. You don't know what you're getting when it comes to that. So of course he gets there, ready to bail her out, and they're like, "What are you in for?" Fucking protesting. At that point, my head dropped. This movie was fucking over. I knew it was over. It was done. So he's got an SJW daughter protesting about some people moving out, homeless people, all the other bullshit. So for me, I understand Scott's background, where he's saved the world, he's been through enough, he just wants. His daughter's well off, everything is fine, but no, she's got to try to save people, but not like superhero save people, just SJW save people. You stand in the shot bullshit. So anywho, they get there, come to find out, Hank and Janet, and they're having family pizza night, and they're using pin particles to make pizzas bigger, which honestly I think is a great idea. That's how they should save the world right there. And so they're just going and they're talking. So apparently his daughter is also a science whiz, and she created something working with Janet and Hank because he's doing the granddad thing, and he wants to be recognized. He loves what he does. So it's cool. Great. And it all just turned into Cassie making a quantum realm. Oh, hold on. There we go. So she just makes a satellite that goes quantum realm. I don't get it, but she wants to use to study the quantum realm. It makes sense ish, but of course Janet's like, yeah, we told her about it, but there's some things I didn't tell you. They go in. Next thing you know, she turns it on. Janet's like, turn it the fuck off, and they all get sucked down in. So we had Janet, Hope, Cassie, Hank, and the ants and of course, Scott gets sucked into this portal. They go down. They drop into the quantum realm. Okay, so one thing I will say, I do like the animation and the CGI graphics were amazing in this movie. I think they were stellar. They really took their time, and they did some good things. Now, that being said, shit turned into fake Star Wars real fast. Marvel was just using all of those LucasArts properties that they had and just started plugging shit in. Everyone thought Star Wars. I know I did. I know a couple other people did. Um, but it just wasn't really solid. And it was just kind of goofy. It was, I don't know, not fun. I wasn't a fan. So, we're just going through it and just watching this movie. And, they get down, they meet up with Bill Murray, which was great. So after, Cassie and Scott got split off and they got kidnapped. Janet, Hope, and Hank, they ended up, meeting some Star Wars people. Of course, she was there 30 years. She knows some people. Gets to Bill Murray. Awesome scene. Great scene. Love Bill Murray. Wish I would just be watching another Bill Murray movie. And it was fun. Pacing of this movie wise wasn't the greatest. First hour, really not much happened. So then they start jumping in everything. Janet knows Kang. And this is where they really go into the Kang backstory, which it's actually pretty cool. I did like the Kang backstory, and Jonathan Majors definitely stars. He acted his ass off for what he had. But the only thing I really couldn't get down with is that every time he was on screen, he did have some wonderful moments, and he took over the screen every time he was in it. But he didn't have that like Darth Vader esque feeling. He's supposed to be the new Thanos. He's supposed to be the new big bad. Um, he's very intelligent, and you're like I compelled with him, but they don't really show how powerful he is or how powerful he can be at any given moment. Like the where Vader's at the council and he chokes the dude out for speaking out to her. He shows that I can destroy people whenever I want. That really just doesn't happen with Kang. So it that fell short. But maybe that's just gonna go into more shows and things like that. A lot of woke stuff, and anyone who knows me, I'm not a fan of that. I mean, I'm all the is and phobes. Call me whatever you want. It really doesn't fuck matter to me. But it's just too much. We didn't get enough Ant-Man, and they nerfed the most B-rated character of the Avengers. And this was supposed to be an Ant-Man movie. It was definitely a Janet movie. We didn't even get a lot of Wasp in this movie. It was sad. Of course, Cassie ends up with a suit. And it's just bullshit after bullshit. MODOK looked like shit. And he ended up being the guy, Yellow Jacket. So whoever played Yellow Jacket ended up being MODOK. And MODOK's a cool character from the comics. He's not someone that everyone loves, but the way they did it was garbage. It was ass. Just terrible, terrible, terrible. But it's okay. It's okay. They go into some things. Kang goes in and he makes Scott help save him. If you can tell, this movie it's forgettable. It's forgettable. I watched it yesterday, and I've forgotten most of it. Not the greatest movie. Um, at the end of the day, there's ants. Hank's ants are super smart now, and they do all this like technological. They built a whole new civilization within a day because they fell in a different time portal that everyone else fell into, to where they evolved because they lived 1,000 years in a day. So they're like super duper ants, I guess. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And it just, a lot of it just didn't go together. But my biggest takeaway, I am sick of seeing these heroes when it is your movie and they're all getting saved by their girl. I just think it's dumb. The hero's supposed to save the hero. My name is on the movie. It's just bullshit. And it's this whole MCU. They're pandering to the ladies and the whole woke agenda. It's insane. It's ugly. It's dumb. And honestly, it's going to be the downfall of Marvel. So, hate me if you want, but that's what it's going to be. The movie turned out fun. I probably will never watch this movie again, but I don't know. I'll have to be forced to. A couple of buddy of mine, my buddy of mine, he loved this movie. He thinks it's great. And then I told him my take, and he told me I need therapy. So I don't know. We're gonna discuss that on another show. But I would not recommend this movie unless you are a diehard Marvel fan and you do want to see where it all ties in. So that's probably the only good thing in this movie, is it's going to be like a flashpoint like reset. But all in all, I wouldn't recommend this movie. It sucks. A terrible movie, and I don't know. Let me know in the comments, and hopefully I don't get canceled for this. Later.